Hey guys, another Open Dragon Mouth, and I'm going to apologize in advance if I stumble my words because yesterday I had a root canal procedure done to my back molar. See, I recently had, as I think I said this before. If not, I'll explain again. Um, I had an abscess back here. There was an infection in the root of that molar, which was causing a bump to appear on my gums, and it did not feel comfortable. And all this time, I thought it was just because that I just wasn't brushing enough back there. So I had to go to an endodontist and had them perform a root canal procedure. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's pretty nasty. What it is that they drill into that tooth, and they scrape out, they wash out the dead nerve that's inside the root, and then they fill it in to prevent any more infections, and then they put in a filling. Now the procedure's not complete yet. That filament is temporary. I have to go back to my regular dentist to put a crown on it. But yesterday I had to deal with my tooth being raised up because of the procedure, and it was more of the inflammation in my gums. So I woke up this morning and my tooth is pretty much back down to its normal position now. But I do have to get a crown put on it, and also a tooth has got to be removed back here because they explained to me that it was leaning against that tooth and it's got to go. So my mouth is going through a bad year. Um, so yeah, if I stumble my words, I apologize for that. But let's get to some stuff. First off, Zootopia has a graphic book coming out. It's a graphic novel for younger readers. It's called Zootopia Friends to the Rescue. And I do have the cover. This is more focusing on their younger selves, which so we have Judy there. And who do they say that the other one is? It's either Dina or Dinah. I don't know. Um, but it's pretty much a female sloth. Yeah, I looked at that. I was like, that is not Flash, the sloth that you see at the DMV. But here's the description of this graphic novel. Judy Hopps is excited for the fun at the Bunnyboro County Fair, but her friend, I'm just going to call her Dina. But I don't know if that's a correct pronunciation, but Dina has to sneak out of her house to join her. When Dina stumbles into trouble, it takes both Judy and Dina's talents to ensure that they both make it safely home. Meanwhile, at his friend Hetty's house, Hetty's birthday party, it's spelled Hedy. These weird spellings. Nick Wilde learns that it's the thought that counts. While he may not have enough money to buy a gift, Nick has other talents he puts to good use for a truly unforgettable celebration. So I'm just curious, why does um, why does Dina have to sneak out of her house? Is she grounded or something? Is she have strict parents? Um, but it sounds like a good book for the younger audience, and it is priced at around $8. So it's worth taking a look at if you find it anywhere. This is made by Dark Horse Comics. Let's see. Now, those of you on Twitter, well, first off, I know that there's a new kind of drama that's been going around there, but I'm not going to go into that because there's already some other furry YouTubers have already discussed that, and I don't really need to explain any further. Um, Plus, it's the same old drama I've heard over and over again, and I'm just getting tired saying the same thing. But Twitter is now suggesting new um, some new changes to their policy, considering um, what they call dehumanizing language. Now, this has been under development for the past 3 months, and what it is that here's how they do this. With this change, we want to expand our hateful conduct policy to include content that dehumanizes others based on their membership in an identifiable group, even when the material does not include a direct target. Many scholars have examined the relationship between dehumanization and violence. For example, Susan Benesch has described dehumanizing language as a hallmark of dangerous speech because it could make violence seem acceptable. And Herbert Kellman has posted that dehumanization can reduce the strength of restraining forces against violence. Now, for clarification, they define dehumanization as language that treats others as less than human. Dehumanization can occur when others are denied of human qualities, um, animalistic dehumanization, or when others are denied their human nature, mechanistic dehumanization. Examples can include comparing groups to animals and viruses, animalistic, or reducing groups to a tool for some other purpose, mechanistic. They also define identifiable group as any group of people that can be distinguished by their shared characteristics, such as race, ethnic, ethnic, I can't even speak today, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, serious disease, occupation, political beliefs, location, or social practices. And they are currently asking for feedback over this new policies. Now, some of this is already covered under their hateful conduct policy, which I do know that with the recent drama, some furry counts have broken those rules, and I'm aware that not in every one of the accounts that are involved in this are furry accounts. I'm very sure that some of these are troll accounts, not real furry accounts. But um, so is this going to change anything? I don't know. Um, yeah, I would like to hear what you guys think of this. They do have a survey here. If I can bring it up close. Um, so we'll see how this impacts it, but I would expect that there would be more accounts that would face suspensions. Let's see. Oh yes, Hurricane Florence. Now, I only lost power for 1 day. That was it. I was quite surprised that my power only went out for that short of a time. I thought I was going to get my power back later than that. But pretty much the only damage that we suffered over here is we got some downed branches, and our first floor air conditioning is damaged. So we're in the process of getting the ducts replaced again 2 years after we had Hurricane Matthew. But they said that we've had the most rainfall in the Carolinas since I don't know when. I don't know there's ever been any hurricanes ahead put in that large amount of rain. They said at least 3 feet. Now, I didn't suffer the same floods that I did with Matthew. That was because that Matthew had all that rain come in at once. We were lucky enough to be between the strong rain bands, and therefore the water just was just spread out between days. It did put in one last hit to us on overnight on Sunday, where we did suffer some floodwaters, but it was not as bad as Matthew. Now, of course, everyone along the coast, and especially Wilmington, took a lot more rain than we did over here. But to my knowledge, I have not heard anything about anyone getting back into Wilmington right now because even though Florence is gone, there has still been some floodwaters all over the place because of the rivers. Now, one of our main roads was being threatened of being shut down because the river was about to get on top of the bridge. So that road was shut down to one lane because there was a part of the road going southbound that was covered up by floodwaters, and there was no other way of getting around it. So they had to put what is usually the northbound lane down to one lane into two-way traffic. And that caused delay for what would usually be a 30-minute drive, about 90 minutes or 2 hours just to get back home. But other than that, around here, everything's just getting back to normal. We're we're getting close to finish up our repairs over here, but I know that everyone along the coast still has a long way to go. But aside from that, there's a story coming out that someone has been arrested for saving animals from the hurricane without a permit. Now, why is that? The story reads Tammy Hedges took action to protect pets that might have otherwise been caught in the storm, a decision that led to her arrest. Hedges, a resident of Wayne County, North Carolina, was taken into custody after providing care to more than 24 animals, 17 cats and 10 dogs, for owners who had to evacuate before the storm hit. The owner of Crazy's Claws and Paws, a donation-based animal rescue center, was in the process of converting a warehouse space into a proper animal shelter when she decided to use the building to help keep pets dry. However, her facility was not legally registered as a shelter. She said an elderly couple dropped off 18 of the animals, some of which were sick and injured just before the storm. Now, she willingly surrendered the animals. That's Wayne County Animal Control went to her place and said that you've got to hand over the animals or we're going to get a warrant. A few days later, she got called in for questioning and they arrested her for 12 counts of practicing medicine without a veterinary license. What exactly? She said, so she's from Crazy's Claws and Paws, which is a donation-based animal rescue center. And they were in the process of providing shelter. Now, in the case of a hurricane, yeah, I'm no legal expert. I think this is something that Boozy Badger is going to have to give me some insight into because I only know business law, and this is not something that I'm up to speed on. So this is probably something that he's going to have to explain. But I would have thought that if you're just helping the animals get away from the storm, I think that would at least um, relax the laws a bit. But apparently, you can't practice as a veterinarian even under storms, under a hurricane if you don't have a license. Which, yeah, I can see that. But she was in the process of making it a proper shelter. So yeah, again, tell me what you guys think about this. And this is actually a place that's not too far from me. So let's see. Los Angeles is about to ban the sale of fur products, and we were talking about actual animal fur, which I thought they would already done. But Councilman Paul Koretz, he says he hoped the proposal would lead to widespread bans around the globe. Um, just because they ban it in Los Angeles, I don't think that's going to happen. Um, just because it happens in Los Angeles doesn't mean that everyone's going to follow suit. The proposal got a unanimous vote, 12 to nothing, and which directs the city attorney's office to draft an ordinance outlining the ban, which they must come back to the city council for approval and be signed by Mayor Eric Garcetti in order to become law. And it would be a 2-year phase. There would be some exceptions under the law, such as furs of animals trapped by California Fish and Game license holders, and fur items which could be worn for religious purposes, such as the hats that are worn by the Hasidic Jews on a variety of religious occasions. Um, and it would also not prohibit the sale of used fur products. Again, I thought that this was something that Los Angeles already banned. I thought this was like a statewide thing, but apparently not. But it was pointed out that there's a fashion thing using real fur, which, yeah, that happens. Um, but yeah. So for those fursuit makers in California, don't worry. This does not affect you. This is for real animal fur. All right, upcoming events. We got a lot for October. We got from the 3rd to the 7th, HCon, which will be held in Urbach, Odenwald, Hessen, Germany. Alamo City Furry Invasion from the 5th to the 7th in San Antonio, Texas. Western Pennsylvania Furry Weekend at the same time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 11th to the 14th, Fur Reality in Cincinnati, Ohio. From the 12th to the 14th, Neon Fur on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. Conferrer in Guadalajara, I hope I pronounced that right, Guadalajara in Mexico. That was 12th to the 14th, by the way. 12th to the 15th is Furcation in Combe Martin in North Devon, United Kingdom. Fur Strike on the 13th in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. 19th to the 21st, Furry Retreat, which is in Bristow, Oklahoma. Golden Leaves Con from the 24th to the 28th in Switzerland. And man, the weekend of 26th to the 28th, we got a lot of conventions going on. In fact, in that one weekend, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 7 events happening that weekend. 26th to the 28th is Arizona FurCon, which will be held in Scottsdale, Arizona. Furpocalypse up in Cornwall, Connecticut. Howler's Eve in Raleigh, North Carolina. Furry Cruise, which will last a whole week. It's going to start out. Let's see, where are they going to start this at? It's going to depart Los Angeles, California, and it'll go to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, before going back to Los Angeles. and it will be on the cruise ship Norwegian Bliss. 27th to the 28th, Infernity over in Taiwan. 28th, Morth Parade over in Bangkok, Thailand. And finally, 31st to November 4th is Floof in Belgium. Okay, so that is it. Nothing else. So this Dragon's Mouth is now closing.